So if we're at an inflection point for credit access, what specific policies are pushing us there?
So, Adam, there's a lot going on right now, and everyone I think has talked about the president's tweet from January about 10% rate caps. There's pushes on interchange. There's actually a lot going on in the states that people might not be aware of. There's pushes there on interchange as well as credit card surcharging. But in terms of what's driving that, the thing I would note is that it really feels like people have kind of forgotten the role that credit cards play in American society. And
Okay.
so as they're looking for kind of quick fixes on affordability, just the same way that the prior administration was looking for quick fixes on inflation, that they're thinking that this is an easy target. But our concern is that that could actually harm the consumers they're trying to help.
Okay. Could certain credit products disappear entirely if current proposals move forward?
That's a great question, Adam. And the thing I would note is for this whole debate, it's really less about the product and more about the people.
Okay.
And so, earlier we talked about how with a 10% rate cap, that even the proponents of the rate cap show that people with a less than 800 FICO score would get a reduction in access to credit. And so whenever you see these efforts, whether it's late fees or credit card rate caps or these interchange fees, the products will be there in some form or fashion, but they will be less available to other people. And I think a lot of folks take for granted that right now, anywhere from 1 in 10 to 1 in 5 Americans are credit invisible. And research shows that if you're trying to come out of credit invisibility, it's either student loans that are pulling you out, which is not necessarily the best way to come visible. It's collection on like medical debt or non-financial debt, which is a terrible way to become credit visible, or it's credit cards. And so that is a ladder that not only kind of makes you visible, it creates a ladder which then you can then build your credit and eventually get a car loan or a mortgage. And so every time you do these regulations and you're not thinking about and I'm not saying all regulations are bad,
Sure.
but if you're not thinking about the access to credit issue, you're then making those products less available to people that are trying to pay their bills, to grow their way up the credit ladder and to do things responsibly.
So there's a clear divide right now. This is a hotly debated topic between merchants pushing for lower swipe fees and bank groups warning about the unintended consequences for consumers. And we've already been touching on this a little bit during our conversation. Where do you think the public conversation is missing important context here?
Well, first, I guess I wouldn't be doing my job if I weren't to say that there's no such thing as a swipe fee. Right? It's an interchange fee. And two, I think people aren't realizing that the interchange fee pays for something. So at the end of the day, and for instance, there's always this chart that comes up in these debates that shows that what merchants pay in interchange fees has grown over the years. But what they don't show is that merchant revenue on cards has grown in proportion to that.
Okay.
Cards provide merchants and it's a service. They don't have to use cards, and cards are always innovating to provide their benefit to merchants.
Sure.
But, everything from cashierless checkout to fraud protections to internet commerce, all of that is a service that enables merchants to do their thing. In exchange for that, there's a charge for it. And presumably there's a charge for other things, right? Like there's a cost of cash and the like. And so there's a benefit of the bargain that's made. With these negotiations, it feels as if they're using politics to then renegotiate the deal. But it's a tough thing to fight against because we're having to explain what interchange is.